Hi there. I wanted to take a few minutes today and make a video to explain one of the questions that I get asked the most, which is just basically, what does a QHHT session consist of? What's it like? What can I expect? I have a little bit about this on my website that's written down if you want to read that, but if you want to check this out, maybe that's more helpful for you. I'm going to do this in two parts because a QHHT session is divided into two parts. First off, a session is a minimum of 4 hours. We sit down and we have a discussion and we talk about you for the first part, and the second part is where we actually do the hypnosis. So if you want to check out what actually happens during the hypnosis, you can look at the next video that I'm going to make, but this one is just about part one. So for part one, it's very simple, it's very straightforward. I like to ask my clients to tell me the story of who they are with their whole heart. And that's sort of a quote, sort of not. One of my favorite researchers is the very well-known Brene Brown. She might be most well-known for her TED Talk on vulnerability, which I love, and anyone who knows me has probably heard me talk about Brene Brown at least once. I have all of her books, and her research and her work has changed my life. But in that video, which I will link because I love it, there's a little section where she talks about courage, and she talks about the definition of courage, and that it comes from the Latin word cur, which means heart, and the definition was to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. And that's the definition of courage, the original definition of courage, to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. And I just love that. So that's what I ask my clients to do. I ask them to tell me the story of who they are with their whole heart. And indeed, it is a very courageous process. I ask them to, if it's easier, to give them some suggestions. They can start from their earliest memory and just tell me how their life has evolved since then. Sometimes it goes chronologically. We start from their earliest memory and then we go into the present day. Sometimes clients will jump around. It's just, whatever flows, whatever comes, however it's relevant, whatever pops into their mind is just what we do. But we sit for 2 hours at least. If it takes more, it takes longer. That's perfectly fine. I'm in no rush. I have my entire day set up for my clients. Take as much time as they need to talk about whatever it is they need to talk about, want to talk about, whatever's relevant for them, depending on whatever that they're coming in for. So that's why a session can be a minimum of 4 hours, or I've had sessions go 8 hours, because we talked for a really long time, and that's perfectly okay. But yeah, they tell me their story and we chat and I listen. And at the very end of that conversation, I will go through the list of questions that they have made, or the requests that they have to address, whatever it is that they've come to address. And just to make sure that I understand each question and its origin. And, usually by the time the conversation is over, I understand what the questions are about. I understand what they've come to see me for, what they're looking for, and I understand the backstory of these questions. So it's just to double check before we actually get started with the hypnosis. Yeah, that's pretty much part one. After we have a conversation, I will ask every client to use the bathroom. I will use the bathroom as well, just to make sure that we don't feel any urges to get up in the middle of a hypnosis session. But if we do, that's okay too. It does not interrupt the session. I've had that happen numerous times, and it does not impact your level of hypnosis or the session. But of course, it's nice if we don't have to be interrupted, so we do that. And then after that, we go get settled in the room where I do the hypnosis, and that starts part two. So if you're curious about the second part of a session, then watch the next video. Thanks.